Altheris, how is it that we've come to the point where we're so strongly influenced and subjected to the marketing campaigns of the major global conglomerates, including the banks and the oil and pharmaceutical industries?
What is important for you to understand is that the vibrational frequency of the majority of human beings is not the understanding of the nature of themselves as to what they want, in terms of that which is freedom. What is the important thing to understand is that they are under or looking to be told how to live their lives, and they become addicted or attached to the nature of how things are presented to them. Of course, also when they see other people that are within their circle of friends or within their community with certain objects, in terms of the desire to be liked or to be part of a community, that is when the perpetuation of, for instance, a particular type of computer or a particular type of phone occurs. And it is the marketing of these that is played upon, that these are the things that you must have in order to be a normal human being. These are the things that you must have in order to be liked by other people. Of course, that is what is the primary desire of all human beings, is to be liked at the ego level, because when you are liked, you can, I guess we have said, join together, create a joint strategy of survival. In terms of that which are the pharmaceutical industry, well, of course you understand the nature of addiction, you understand the nature of pharmaceuticals, and you understand the nature of the money aspect of that which pharmaceuticals generate. And so there is a desire from those that make the chemicals or make the pills or make the drugs to have them sold, because there is great profit in that. And it is through this acquisition of value in money that they draw their own ability to meet their own needs in terms of survival. So what is important from a marketing perspective is that there is an addictive aspect to it, that you become caught up in being this way or that way because of your desire to survive. It's all part of your strategy. Getting your basic needs met, as we have sometimes said, is the way out of that. Once you have your basic needs met, you do not need to become subject to a particular brand of phone. You do not need to become subject to a particular type of car or living in a particular area. You have your basic needs met. It is above and beyond you having your basic needs met that you can then decide consciously what it is that you desire. Do you desire a better house? If you do, then you know that you have to have a better job because you need the money. But in terms of avoiding the power and control of those people that are in the banking industry or are in the pharmaceutical industry, understand what it is that you need as your basic needs, but be conscious about what it is that you buy. Whether it is, as we have said, a particular type of phone, does that make you feel better, or does it simply do the same as something else?
So it seems as though what you're saying is that we're highly subjected to peer pressure, and by becoming conscious we can step out of that way of measuring ourselves, if you like, in order to be our own true person and not necessarily respond to these big conglomerates and the way that they are marketing their goods in such a way that makes it feel as though they are so important.
That is true. And we are not saying that there is anything wrong with the big, as you call them, conglomerates and what it is that they are selling in terms of branding, provided that you buy what it is that they are offering, consciously knowing that it is not going to assist you in being liked by other people. It's important to be conscious, fully conscious of what it is that you are doing with your money. It is all part of the universe. They are part of the universe at that dimensional way. So if you desire to come into contact with them, purchase their products, and then move away, that is fine. But in terms of the addictive nature or the power and control that they can assert over you, what they are doing is that they are saying that you have to continue to buy. They are always saying that you have to buy their product. And because you become caught up in the nature of a particular brand, it gives you part of your identity. Then you do continue to fall under the nature of their influence, but provided you are conscious of what you are doing, that the functionality of what it is that you are buying or purchasing or eating or drinking, you are conscious of it, there is nothing wrong with you having it.
Could I question some of that in regards to the fact that we are often quite hypnotized by some of these marketing campaigns?
So then you are not conscious.
So, for example, within the food industry, that you can walk through the supermarkets looking at the packages of food that have been marketed on television programs, when actually there's very little nutrition in them, that they are not actually healthy for the human body.
So you can become hypnotized by the packaging, the words that they use, the colours, for instance, that they use. You can be attracted to a particular type of colour. In terms of that which is the nature of the ingredients of what you are buying, be conscious of what you are buying. You are not buying the cellophane or the packaging. You cannot eat that. What you are eating is the contents inside the package. If you are conscious as to whether that is good for you, in terms of the physical body, or not, then you make a more informed choice.
So really education is the answer, and then becoming empowered to sort of walk your own truth, if you like.
Well, it is all connected in terms of the nature. For instance, if we use the example of the food industry, so the body, the physical body, desires or needs food from a sustainable perspective. And if the power and control aspect of the industries that create the food put, for instance, more sugar into it, in terms of the nature of the addiction of the physical body to desire sugar, then what occurs is that you become more and more drawn to that particular product. It is through conscious awareness, through moving out of the hypnotic state of the desire and the addiction of the physical body for sugar from a conscious perspective, that you can reduce that. We're not saying do not take yourself off sugar totally, because, as we have said, the physical body will have a reaction to that, so you do it slowly. But this is the power and control nature of that which are the industries, that they place things in the products that you buy that are addictive to the physical body.
There are many good books and good movies and people that are explaining this to people, and it seems as though if we take responsibility and we start to educate ourselves, we can actually start to have an influence on what is bought, and therefore the companies presumably will have to respond if nobody's buying the things that they are hypnotizing us to buy. But that seems to be quite a big leap. How can we best take those steps?
Well, in terms of the nature of the products that are available, as you quite rightly point out, they are only available because people buy them. What needs to occur, not just necessarily on a mass basis to start with, but at an individual basis, the understanding of what it is that you feel your physical body needs, in terms of that and its ability to survive. So what kind of shelter, what kind of water, what kind of food do you want, what kind of energy system, how do you want to maintain that of your energy system so it can take you out there into the world to experience the different things. It is a true and deep understanding of the nature of yourself and your physical body that is important for you to get a grasp and understanding of. It is from that position where you can then decide, what will you buy, what will you put into your body, how does your body feel when you put, for instance, what you say are organically grown vegetables versus those that are in the shops. The body is a very finely tuned instrument, and it will tell the difference between an organically grown vegetable and a non-organically grown vegetable, but you need to afford yourself and be able to spend the time monitoring the physical body to know that which is best for you.
And of course we have another form of power and control, if you like. There are companies that are currently genetically modifying a lot of food, which is having an impact on our cattle and the animals that are eaten, as well as the food.
And your physical bodies as well, because your body then becomes designed and desires those genetically modified foods. And if you withdraw from that, you will have an effect. It will have an effect on the physical body if you, for a sustainable period of time, eat genetically modified foods and then take away or move away from eating those foods. It's the same with any food.
Like an addiction, like anyone going through the DTs coming off
Of course.
of heroin even. And what do you feel are the impacts of these genetically modified foods on the physical body?
Well, they will be changing the cellular structure and the physiology of the human body, because it is not designed at this particular moment in time to take the full impact of genetically modified foods. If you have, for instance, spent 20 years eating non-genetically modified foods, then your body or your physical nature will be set in a particular way. When you start to introduce a different structured food type in terms of that at the cellular structure of the food, and of course you understand that your physical body becomes that which you eat and which you drink, then the nature of your physiology has no alternative but to change. It is an automatic feeding process.
So will it need more pharmaceuticals in order to cope with that, or will it evolve into some higher being?
Well, in terms of the nature of what will happen to each particular individual body, then we cannot say, because of the physiology of each of those bodies is different. But what you can say is that there will be a rejection over time, because the physical body is not designed to hold those particular genetically modified foods at the cellular or atomic structure. So it is what you might say a phase that humanity is going through.
Do you feel as though they will be withdrawn and will go back to plants in their natural form then?
In terms of the nature of humanity and how humanity is raising its vibrational frequency, the genetically modified foods sit at a particular vibrational frequency, and that is what humanity is moving through at this particular point in time. You must also understand, of course, the nature of the population explosion and the need to create more and more foodstuffs for people. It is the population that is demanding, that is eating the genetically modified foods, but it can still maintain and create and grow enough food without that which is the genetically modified structure of the foods that are being produced at this moment. And of course, in terms of nature, once you allow something that is genetically modified out into the world, then you do not have the ability to control where it goes or what it does. So it is not just human beings that are impacted. It is other animals, it is nature itself that becomes altered. So once you, humans, raise your vibrational frequency out of that which is genetically modified food, then nature will then move back into balance. That is the important thing to understand, is that as you eat and as you grow more and more genetically modified food, nature becomes more out of balance.
And for example, how can a highly conscious person at this moment in time exist where the foods are not labelled for genetically modified or pesticides or something? How can they eat out, for example, or how can they be sure of what they're buying in the shops?
They cannot be sure, because the world itself is so vast and complex. They cannot be sure of what is happening on the other side of the world, from where their food comes, and the ability to transport food in days to the supermarkets that you shop in. You cannot be sure unless you grow your own food.
Highly responsible sourced food.
Well, even when you say highly responsible sourced food, unless you follow the food processing, then you cannot be sure. You simply have to have that trust in a particular product or a particular label or a particular logo that says this is safe to eat, it is not genetically modified. And you have to rely on people to be honest with how they produce their food. But of course you understand the nature of what people who produce food want. They want to sell it. And so they may create something and then sell it and misdirect you as to actually what it is that you are buying, because they want to sell it. because they are under the power and control of money.
So really you're looking at a community sort of growing program where each member of the community is conscious and is actually partaking in that growth and activity, looking after that garden.
That is, in terms of a community where there is trust, where there is loyalty to that community, and there is understanding of the nature of how and why that community has come together from, for instance, a food growing perspective, then you can understand and you can see, you can go out there and you can see what is happening in terms of the nature of food growing. But if it is a farmer that is within your locality and he says that he has grown and is offering for sale organic vegetables, you cannot be certain unless you go to that farm, unless you spend time with that farmer, unless you understand what his processes are for growing those foods.
Well, it sounds that the bottom line really with all of these major conglomerates is for us to become fully conscious and educate ourselves on all of the processes, and also look at where we're responding to peer pressure as to whether or not we really want to stay in that frequency of humanity, or whether we wish to evolve beyond it and have a level of personal choice and freedom.
That is it.
Thank you.